frontline health workers start getting their booster doses today. And the government is also looking to administer the third shot to senior citizens and those with comorbidities before the month ends. Officials are more confident about a vaccination drive, and economic managers are also more optimistic about our recovery. Are we getting the upper hand against COVID-19? We talk about lives and livelihood as we enter the holiday season with Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion. Joey, thank you so much for joining us. The infection and the positivity rates are down nationwide. More Filipinos are getting vaccinated. And today, many of them are also getting their booster shots. Are we ready to further downgrade alert levels, especially in Metro Manila, even before December 1st?
Yes. First of all, Rico, remember on August 8th, the private sector, our group, called for an early lockdown together with Octa Research. That decision paid off, no? And we saw cases rise and fall on October. And the objective was to save the fourth quarter, which is our Christmas season. So we are now seeing all-time, really low numbers, no, in the national level. No? And all of this has paid off. No? All the work on really vaccinating NCR up to over 90% today shows that these vaccines do prevent hospitalization. And that is the game plan. We have to vaccinate to the max. And we have to try to work towards Luzon, balance of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. The vaccine hesitancy here ranges between 19% to 30%. It's quite high. When we started vaccinating the private sector, we were at 40%. Today, we have achieved 90 to 100% fully vaccinated employees.
Are we expecting more vaccines arriving, particularly for the private sector? And will the private sector now be able to procure their own vaccines to boost their employees rather than going through a tripartite agreement with the government?
Well, we have the AstraZeneca vaccines that we donated to the government arriving on January, February next year. Secretary Galvez has allowed us to use all of those doses for ourselves. We don't need to donate to the government anymore. So the plan is to use these doses as a booster shot. No? AstraZeneca, basically, it's the same vaccine that can be used for boosters. 3 million doses are arriving for the private sector. And of course, you have Moderna. No? The delay in Moderna earlier on, now there is a lot of Moderna on stock in the country and many more to arrive in December. Most of the orders of Moderna will arrive on December. So the private sector has enough vaccines to be able to use it for booster shots for AstraZeneca and Moderna. And we have also the stock for the children 12 to 17. Moderna can be used for children 12 to 17. So we are waiting for the go signal. I believe that the booster for the 12 to 17, we can already get going. And I was telling Secretary Duque that those who took Sinovac early on need the boosters now. No? Now, the AstraZeneca, those who are vaccinated with AstraZeneca, they will still need the booster sometime February, March next year.
Right. Joey, let's talk about 13-month pay. Many micro, small, and medium enterprises suffered over the past 20 months. Some shutting down, others scaling back operations. Their revenue's not enough to fund their 13-month pay for its workers. And 13-month pay is mandatory. How can they be helped?
Well, right now, I'm told SB Corp is lending the micro and small entrepreneurs not to be able to fund the 13-month pay. But they have to, there's many who need help, no? Their obligations of the micro entrepreneurs. Remember, their source of funds is not as wide as the medium and large corporations. So the lockdowns actually are not their fault, no? It's the fault of really preventing the virus from spreading. So if it's not due to their management, so the government has to help them, no? Really try to at least pay this 13-month pay. They have also obligations to the banks on their amortizations on their loans, because these people don't have enough equity to really pump in their businesses. And that's why they're quite leveraged. And when businesses close, then they don't have enough leeway to to survive. Now that we've opened the economy, many of them are now generating some sales, but not enough to really pay all these obligations.
And now that the economy is opening, I've seen more people out and about, Joey, in malls, in shopping centers, in establishments, and in cinemas. But of course, many of these businesses also need help from Filipinos overseas. Is anything being done to cut down the number of quarantine days, especially for our Filipino Americans who want to spend time with their relatives here during the holiday season?
Yes, our group was able to bring down, we were able to convince the ITF to bring that down from 7 and 10 days to now basically 5 days quarantine. No? And now, hopefully within the week, they're supposed to decide on allowing the yellow countries to get the same privilege as the green countries. We're hoping that the quarantine will be brought down anywhere between 1 to 2 days, maybe at most 3 days, just for people to be able to take the RT-PCR test. So prior to departure, you have to take an RT-PCR test. Then upon arrival, you will take another test. No. But with all of that, the maximum quarantine will be no more than 3 days. And if you're lucky enough to get the labs to produce those PCR tests, then you can go out early. So that is what is on the table. I believe that this week the decision should come out because many people really want to come home. We've been receiving a lot of emails on people wanting to come home and be with their families this Christmas. And I believe that the subcommittees are going to push for it. I believe that is the right thing to do. Thailand has gone down to 1 day quarantine. Many countries are already opening. The governors and mayors who we met on the top tourist destination have waived the PCR test for domestic travel to Boracay, to Bohol, to Coron, to all of these top destinations. So we're going to bring back tourism. We need mobility so that the airlines will survive, because if Philippine Airlines does not increase the number of flights in this country coming in, then they will not be able to make their obligations. They have filed for Chapter 11. We cannot afford to lose Philippine Airlines because we have 7,100 islands. So how are we going to go to these islands without a plane? So it's very important, and I believe that the government realizes the importance of the tourism sector. Many of these hotel owners are deeply in trouble because many of them have a lot of bank debt. Many of them they were so bullish, optimistic about this growth in tourism. Never did they see a pandemic strike them at that highest point when one owner owns 15 hotels in Boracay, and he's really begging that we open up tourism. Right. And I'm glad that the governors and mayors have already acceded to waiving this RT-PCR test for the fully vaccinated. And likewise, travel here for the fully vaccinated, it will be less number of quarantine days. So I think hopefully they approve it, and I think we will have really a Merry Christmas.
A Merry Christmas indeed is what every Filipino is looking forward to. Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. Joey Concepcion, Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship. Moving now to